Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame show powered by ComEd. It's getting easier for your business to switch to electric vehicles. Learn more at ComEd.com/clean. Welcome in. I'm Jay Zawaski with Greg Boysen. Mario Tirabassi is back at the UC, accommodating Nick Foligno, who's going to join us a little bit into the show here. The first of his monthly hits will be postgame, which is really exciting. He'll be on a screen and everything, so we'll get his thoughts on tonight's 4-2 loss to the Vancouver Canucks. Thanks for being here. We always appreciate you. Do us a favor and elbow smash that like button for us on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube page as well. Podcast listeners, make sure you're following or subscribed, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Yeah, Hawks lose 4-2. They get goals today from Tyler Johnson, power play goal, and Kevin Korchinski, his third of the season. And look, the first period was just an onslaught, 12-1 shot advantage for the Canucks. And there were lots of moments in this game where you saw the best team in the Western Conference versus the worst team in the NHL, and that's exactly how it looked. The Canucks were toying with the Blackhawks for a large portion of this game, but as has been the trend, they didn't quit. They were only down 1-0 after that first period, and they put up a decent fight, and Colin Blackwell hits the crossbar at one end. It would have tied the game at 2, and immediately the other way, the Canucks go up 3-1, and you knew once it got there that it was pretty much over. This team does not really have 3 goals in them very often, especially against a team as good as Vancouver.
Not when they
and
had
there you have
3 in their last game. You know.
Yeah, that's too many.
Yes, this was based on point percentage.
Yeah.
This was the NHL's number 1 team in point percentage versus the 32nd ranked team in point percentage.
Yep.
And it looked like it all night long. That first period was just, it was, as we talked about many times, the scene from Spaceballs, where he's just holding the helmet and he's sweating. That's what it was. And the fact that it was only 1-0 was a miracle.
It was a miracle. There have been a lot of those this year where that first period, the Hawks are just getting their dicks kicked in, and you're like, it is an absolute miracle that it's 1-0 after this period.
It just, if this was a team that had a little more firepower, you could be like, all right, we got them right where you want them. Just like, we talked about a little bit yesterday, the Super Bowl. San Francisco did everything right in that first half. It was only up a touchdown. You were like, they're screwed.
Yeah.
They're done.
Guess who else knew that?
Yeah.
The 49ers. Yeah.
So it's like if the Hawks had some firepower, you could be like, all right, we got them right where they want them. We survived. Now we're going to go out and score 3 goals. You know? But it just doesn't happen that way.
But the rest of the game, the Hawks in the second period, shots were 13-12 for Vancouver. Third period, 13-10. It was pretty even for those last 40 minutes. Now, when you dig in and you look at the possession numbers, like, Vancouver's going to have a massive advantage, as they should. This team is really stacked, and it's kind of crazy to think that coming into this year and this summer, there was some thought that they were just going to completely blow things up and rebuild, and all of a sudden, you get Quinn Hughes, who is just otherworldly. I was thinking to myself, like, 2 years ago, I thought Cale Makar is going to win the Norris Trophy for the next 10 years. He'll not be challenged. There's going to be no one that's going to be even close to it. It's going to become like an annual tradition where Cale Makar wins the Norris, and all of a sudden, Quinn Hughes is here. His assist in this game, let's play a game at home. If you didn't cheat, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. How many assists does Quinn Hughes have this year?
All of them.
All right.
No,
4,
I know how many
3,
he has.
2, 1.
A lot.
Quinn Hughes has 54 assists. 54 assists.
I don't know if the Blackhawks have scored 54 goals this year as a team.
I think they've done that.
Yeah, they have. Barely.
I mean, but it's just crazy. They don't have anyone who's got 54 points. That's for damn sure. There's no one even close to that in points. Is Connor Bedard still leading the team in scoring? I believe he is.
He is in
Bedard
points.
leads the team in scoring with 33 points. Quinn Hughes has 54 assists.
The Blackhawks' top assist guy is has like 19.
Yeah, Philip Kurashev has 19 on. Well, he got what, one tonight?
So 20.
So 20. He's got
Blackhawks
20
have
assists.
one player with 20 assists. Not even their leading player
Yeah.
has like almost a third of what Quinn Hughes has. It's pretty crazy. But when you look at the stats, Quinn Hughes was he had one assist. The Canucks had what, 5 All-Stars?
Yeah.
All-Stars?
I think it's
including
5,
It was 6 including Demko.
Yeah.
But they had 5 All-Star skaters. Amongst those 5 players, that Quinn Hughes point was the only point those
That's
guys
right.
got.
Take that, Canucks.
So if you would have said that in the beginning of this morning, if you would have told Luke Richardson, hey, the Canucks 5 All-Stars are going to get 1 assist tonight, he'd take that chance. It wasn't their stars that beat the Hawks. It was the Connor Garland, Dakota Joshua line that just said, screw you guys. If the Hawks would have just traded for Connor Garland like we all said this summer, we could have avoided this.
Yeah,
we would have won
exactly.
this game.
Dude, it's-
that lazy Kyle Davidson,
That's
he didn't
exactly
get
right.
that Connor
He's too
Garland
busy
guy.
going viral and not making
He
trades.
didn't get that Garland Connor guy.
It's Garmin. But I got to say, Dakota Joshua, I know you've got some thoughts on him. He has been kicking the Hawks' ass all year.
There's a lot of guys who do that. But yes, Dakota Joshua is like, I covered him when he was very raw in the AHL and a pud whack. He still has some pud wackian tendencies.
It's okay.
But dude's a beast. And he he had a Gordie Howe hat trick. That's why he picked on poor punchable Mackenzie Entwistle.
That man used to have a family. Leave him alone.
Fighting after clean hits remains the dumbest thing in all of hockey.
Yeah, 3 points for
but
Joshua.
it was and the fight.
Yep.
So he got the Gordie Howe hat trick. And now the Canucks are going to reportedly sign Phil Kessel.
It sure looks that way.
Like, could you punch me in the stomach even harder?
I mean, look,
They're going to make me root for the damn Canucks in the playoffs now, aren't you?
I mean, I know you guys, you and Mario, very had like dreams of Phil coming here. I don't know why Phil Kessel would look at this and go like, "Yeah,
No.
I
of
want
course
that."
not. If he wanted to be here, I'm pretty sure he'd be here.
Yeah, right.
No,
exactly.
he's waiting and eating and waiting for a cup contender. And look, the Vancouver Canucks are one of the Stanley Cup favorite right now. And they're going to be a tough out.
Yeah, I agree.
They're going to be a tough out because they have got a little bit of everything.
Yep.
They've got great offense. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league. They got a very good power play. They got one of the best goalies in the league right now.
Yeah.
They play special teams. They play great at 5-on-5. And if they have a bad 5-on-5 night, you got Thatcher Demko and his 5 shutouts there to save you.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Vancouver has a long history of piddling down their leg when it counts, but this team hasn't had the chance to do that yet.
Yeah, Duncan Keith ain't walking through that
Right.
door.
This particular group hasn't had that chance, and they're deep, and they're big, and they're fast. They're good, man. They're going to be a tough team to beat in a 7-game series.
Our buddy Skoke says he's convinced Joshua voted for Entwistle's punchable face. It must have been that guy because Joshua was the one that punched it. Yeah. He punched it very cleanly in that first moments of that fight.
Yeah, Mackenzie Entwistle probably knew he was in big trouble the second he did that, but he was, reminded quickly that was a bad decision.
All right. If you're just joining us late, make sure you stick around. We've got Nick Foligno joining us here in a little bit. Here are the 3 stars of the game, all Canucks. Philip Roenick, Connor Garland, Dakota Joshua. That's 3-2-1. So here are your nominees for the 4th star of the game. Get those votes in. We will reveal the winner at the end of the game. End of the show, rather. Nick Foligno had an assist, 13-21 of ice time, 1 shot on goal, and 67% at the faceoff dot. Tyler Johnson with a power play goal, 16-54 of ice time, and 3 shots. And Kevin Korchinski, you knew he was going to score on Punchki Day, my friends. 1 goal, 19-33 of ice time, 2 shots, and 3 shot attempts. Not a great start for him. A lot of not wonderful decisions, but as the game went on, Korchinski got better and better, and it's nice to see him get his 3rd goal of the season. The points have not been coming for him, but at the same time, they haven't really been coming for anyone.
Well, exactly. It's hard to pick up assists as a defenseman when nobody's scoring goals. So here's what you do. you go do it yourself. It was a nice play. Joined the rush at the right moment. Had a great, was it Donato that set him up? Yeah, it was Donato that set him up.
And Reichel.
And a Lucas Reichel assist.
Got an assist, +1.
There you go.
He did not play a lot in this game. He played 13:56, 13:03 at even strength. No shots, no shot attempts, and was credited with a giveaway. I did see him make a couple nice defensive plays in this game.
The defense has never been an issue this
Right,
year.
and I'm writing about Boris Kachuk's scratch for Hawks hits today. And I think when you say, well, like, hasn't Boris Kachuk done more than Lucas Reichel? Well, what Luke Richardson was unhappy about with Kachuk the other day was a body language thing. He didn't score and just sort of pouted his way off the ice and put a teammate in a bad position, and that got him scratched. And look, I think Luke will live with Reichel not scoring if Reichel's doing everything else correctly. And it's kind of what he's been. And I never thought that we'd be looking at Lucas Reichel as a defensive forward, but right now that's kind of all he's bringing. But he has been solid defensively. He's out there doing the things he needs to do defensively. The offense has to come, though, and it just feels like he never has the puck.
No, and it's like, hey, if he becomes this really good shutdown defensive player,
never going to happen.
That's great. But the Hawks didn't draft him 20th overall to be Marcus Kruger.
Correct.
Drafted him to be somebody that could score goals.
Yeah.
And be offensive. And he still might. I'm not throwing in the towel. It has not been a great season for him.
Well, I mean, look,
Yura Slavkovsky.
I was going to say it. Yep.
Was a guy that
number 1 overall pick.
He was injured last year. This season, people are ready to kick him out of the league, and all of a sudden, he's been one of the hottest players in the league the last few games. Was seven game
point streak.
2 more points tonight.
I think so.
So
check.
Yeah. So yes, this has been.
It takes time.
Extremely disappointing, but Hawks have nothing but time right now.
Yes, and I think it would be. I don't want to do the Reichel show again, but whatever.
No, just go watch any of our other post-game shows.
It would. I think at this point, as disappointing as he's been, it would be dumb to give up on him at this point. Like you said, you got nothing but time. He's 21 years old. He's barely through his first full NHL season in terms of games.
Let him ride it out.
Let him figure it out.
There's no reason to send him to Rockford now. Just let him ride it out. Figure it out.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get a stretch here of 4 or 5 games where it looks good, yeah, that sucks. But just sending him to Rockford now makes 0 sense.
Yeah, I just think,
it is what it is. You just gotta roll with it and hope he figures it out and gets hot. Otherwise, he's got a whole lot of stuff to work on in the offseason.
Yeah, and look, the spotlight's on him. Like, there's very few things, especially with Bedard out, that really matter towards the future. We're looking at Vlasic, we're looking at Korchinski, we're looking at Reichel. Those are the 3 guys that we know probably are going to be the ones that are here when this team is good again, And I think KQ makes a good point. Talk about Kurashev. He's more fun. I agree. I think Kurashev is what we thought Reichel was going to be this year.
Yeah.
And he's out there playing fast, playing confident. He's been really, really good all year. One of the most consistent Blackhawks. So, it took, and Kurashev wasn't a first-round pick, don't get me wrong, but he's a good example of it took a few years and opportunity and finding your stride.
Good role, took a time and finding his exact role on the team too.
Yeah.
That hasn't necessarily been defined for Reichel yet.
It is not.
They know what they want him to be.
Yes.
But, it just got to, again, write it out. They're going to bring him back. The Hawks have nothing but time. There's no reason to just throw it out the window at this point.
Good point by the Hockey Sun. It says Reichel was inoffensive viewing in person, literally, but I think it's more to do with the Hawks' general inability to transition to puck. I'd estimate there's like a 40% chance of a successful pass. That is part of it. There are so many passes to heels and an inch out of reach, and even look, if it was a better person even receiving the pass, they have a better chance of corralling it. It is a matter of talent. And sometimes when you put a talented player on a less talented roster, it can be challenging. Look, I don't know what's going to happen when the Connor Bedard comes back. I would be surprised if Lucas Reichel finds himself on his line. But
not right away.
No, I don't think
It's
so.
going to be Kurashev and Foligno likely.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess it should be because you have to reward good play.
Is working his way back. We may see him back here in another 2 weeks. Athanasiou and Reichel, put those guys on a line.
And they had a lot of chemistry with Kurashev last year, so maybe that's
I'm saying Athanasiou, Dickinson, Reichel.
Go with that.
That looks like a good line to me.
I don't know, man. I just can't. I can't give myself any sort of like Athanasiou is going to be a thing this year. Just based on like the way they've talked about the injury, it sounds like it's.
But he's skating, so there's He's been on the ice every day for the last 3 days.
I hope so, man.
He's
an
expecting him
NHL
to play.
player.
Yes, he's not a great NHL player, but he makes you not have to play Zach Sanford or Remington Pitlick anymore.
That's a good thing.
And yes, it is a very good thing.
All right, why don't we take our first break? Greg's going to tell you about our friends at Prize Picks.
Yes, I am. Have you?
I lost my Prize Picks. My first foray into Prize Picks. I had Kelsey touchdown. I think I had the Patrick Mahomes passing yards over, which hit, and then it was an Adrian Kempe and Connor McDavid combined shots, and I missed it by a shot.
Yes. Well, that's the fun thing about Prize Picks. If you're not sure if you've not figured out what they do, you don't bet on the games. You bet on players, and you bet on over-unders.
Yeah.
And you don't have to you can mix football, NBA, baseball, hockey, all in the same bet. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can win up to 25 times your bet. If you make a 6-player bet and they all hit, you're going to win 25 times your bet.
That's a lot.
It's pretty sweet. I've been having fun with the hockey bets. You can bet on everything from over under assists, points. They even have for like the Hawks, since they're not going to put points up there because you're just going to bet under and win, and they'll be out of business. But you can bet on time on ice, hits. You can bet on goalie saves, over, under. So much fun. And you can mix, as I said, you could bet on a couple of Blackhawks and a couple of Bulls if they're playing on the same night and mix your sports. It's a ton of fun. Prize Picks offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players is injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance. It's really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types is what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Go to prizepicks.com/CHGO and use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. So whatever you put in, they're going to match it up to $100. Play with somebody else's money. It's so much easier and much fun when you're not risking all your cash. That's prizepicks.com/CHGO and use the code CHGO for daily fantasy sports made easy.
Speaking of CHGO, yesterday we gave away a trio of Corey Crawford commemorative pucks to new diehard signups. We got 4 new signups yesterday that took the time to email us, so maybe you had more than that. But if you were one of the 3 yesterday, your pucks have been shipped. They're on their way. Thank you for doing that. And if you want to become a diehard, there's still a chance at that 4th puck. We've got a puck that was used during warm-ups for the Ice Hogs game ahead of the Corey Crawford warm-up. We're going to do that somehow via Discord. We're going to figure that out still. But
Just
here's
for
the deal.
diehards.
Sign up to be a CHGO diehard. Why? There's lots of reasons. First of all, you get a fancy schmancy box you see right there underneath our Arneson Bell and Calder Russian nesting dolls. You get a membership card. You get a free shirt or hat upon sign up and a new shirt or hat every year upon renewal. You get 20% off all of our events and takeovers. You get 20% off all of our merch at chgolocker.com. It's really a great deal. And look, what do you mean by takeovers? Yeah, well, guess what? Coming up later this month, a whole bunch of diehards are going to the Hawks-Red Wings game. And why is that significant, you ask? Well, they're retiring number 7 for Chris Chelios. Patrick Kane is returning to United Center for the first time. And guess what? A whole boatload of CHGO diehards are going to be there with us.
And they saved money on their ticket to be there.
And it's cheaper to go through us than it is to go through buying your tickets the traditional way. It's a great deal. It pays for itself. You go to one event, you buy one T-shirt, you basically paid for the whole thing, and it really helps us out. So it's win-win for everybody. Go to allchgo.com, navigate over to that Die Hard tab, and become a Die Hard today. You'll also get access to our members-only Discord. Tomorrow, after our 2:30 show, I'm going to jump on and do about 20 minutes of overtime answering your questions in the Blackhawks Discord channel. Should be a lot of fun. So come hang out with us in the Discord and become a diehard today. Allchgo.com. Again, click on that diehard tab on the top of the page for all the information there. It's really great. It's really worth it. Everyone that we've pretty much had become a diehard has said this is totally worth it.
And
it's
a shout out to our newest diehards. And a lot of them are probably watching or will be listening to this. John, Nathan, Andrew, Raymond, Joe, and Matt all signed up. We are killing it in we have almost 60 new diehards in February alone.
That's amazing.
So we really appreciate the support, and it's a huge help. And you guys get access to things other people don't, and you get our love and gratitude, and that's priceless.
Yeah. All right. We are awaiting Nick Foligno. He should join us shortly. But while we're waiting, Seth Jones met the media after the game. Interested to hear what he has to say. So why don't we fire it up here? Here is Seth Jones from the locker room, courtesy of Mario Tirabassi.
What do you do to change it?
I think that's just, 2 games, last 3 games, it's 2 terrible starts. I wish I had answers for you. We got to come out with just a lot more fire, a lot more juice. If it's not for Raza, it could be 4-0 in the first 10 minutes. It's winning no battles down low. They're on every single puck battle. Couldn't get pucks out. We're working together at all, and it's kind of hard to get momentum after that. We kind of had it at 2-1, and then they score right after, and just mental breakdowns out of that.
The power play at the end of the first, are you consciously aware of there not being any shots on goal, or is it like something on your mind to shoot immediately?
Oh, we were aware. we were definitely aware. The fans were aware. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing you can't get one puck to the net. I don't know if we need to shoot it quicker or we need to have a shot mentality a little bit more and stop being so cute in the offensive zone. But so I think I took a muffin one-timer at the end just to put a 1 up there, to be honest.
How mentally taxing is it right now when you got 6 games where you can't get the W?
Is that 6 in a row? Yeah, it's
7.
7.
I'm sorry, it's 7.
It's great. It's not fun. It's not fun losing. It's kind of been like we're talking about a broken record all season of how we need to play. We played through good stretches where we couldn't score, and so that really hurt. And then coming back from the break, we played a good game last game. Didn't get rewarded with a win, and then tonight it's just you can't expect to play 30 minutes in a game or 20 minutes in a game and win against a team like that.
What happened? What went right with Tyler Johnson's power play role?
What went right? It's just a failed clear by them. Great play by Fliggy to keep it in, be aggressive on the blue line, and we made a tic-tac-toe play on low. We made 3 passes in a row and put it on each other's tape, and it's in the back of the net.
How have you felt about your play recently?
Pretty good. I'm trying to be more aggressive up the ice. We're struggling scoring goals, so trying not to take away from the defensive side of anything, but trying to be up in the play and get pucks when I can up there, and always be an option. So I feel like I've been moving my feet pretty well.
You guys try to do anything pregame to change things up to come out with more fire? I mean, you just try to.
It's up to each individual. Each individual's got to look in the mirror and be honest with themselves about their game, how they play, how they start games, how they finish games, how they play every single shift, and that's going to make us better. Each guy in here is 5-10% better. That's much better as a team that we are. So, you can give all the pep rallies, pep talks you want, all the motivational speeches, but if each individual is not ready to go out and battle, then you're not going to win.
How crushing was that Hoglander goal after Blackwell hit the crossbar and then
Which one was that? Oh, right after the crossbar? Yeah.
Right.
It's just how it's gone. It could be 2-2. They go down 5 seconds later, it's 3-1. It's just, it's the momentum swings that we've been having to deal with, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like such a narrow margin, like you said, 2-2. It could have been 2-2. Like, how do you?
Yeah, but if it wasn't for Raza, it would never been that score. So, it is 2-1. We can make it 2-2, and we have life after that. But it's not. It ends up being 3-1, and it's kind of it.
That is Seth Jones, clearly frustrated after the game. It's a guy who has high expectations of the way they perform, and he said the first period's embarrassing, and he's right. I mean, and he said he just kind of threw what he called a muffin of a shot at the net, like just to get a shot on goal because he knew the Boo Birds were going to come. And look, like that's a guy who here's Seth Jones's line tonight. For those that weren't paying attention, clearly many of you, 26:54 of ice time. He had 5 shots on goal. He had 8 shot attempts. He had a hit and 2 block shots. That's a guy giving everything he's got to this team right now and doing everything he can to make things better. And he went down hard in this game and got right back up. Like he had a couple, it's got to be hard for a guy who basically his whole career has been gone from like one mediocre to one bad to another bad. Like it's got to be frustrating.
I think he was sold a bill of goods when he got here. He was traded and then Stan. Stan Marsh told him that, and his giant. Never mind. He who shall not be named was like, "Hey, I traded for you. I'm bringing in Marc-Andre Fleury. We got Jake McCabe.
Yeah.
Kane and Taves still here. We're gonna try and hold this window open a little bit." And then he got here, and then it was Clown Car Colleton.
Yes.
And then the whole Kyle Beach stuff came to light, and it was just one disaster after another, and then it's full rebuild. I'm sure if Seth Jones was told, "Hey, we're going to completely tear it down after next year," but he would have been like, "Thanks, but no thanks."
Not interested.
So
he'd be Dallas Star Seth Jones.
Absolutely. Or back to the Colorado Avalanche or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so that's it is. Yeah, sure. It's not exactly what he wanted, but the dude goes out and busts his ass every night. And,
yeah.
BJD
says, Jay, you're never going to convince people that Jones isn't bad. There's some people who need to take a serious look at what it is about Jones specifically that bothers them so much. I know what you're alluding to, and I think that's part of it for some people, but I think a lot of people look at this cap hit and they look at the output and they say he's not worth it. They also get mesmerized by analytics wonks that tell you he's terrible and he's only worth $1 million and all this stuff when there's no context. Yeah. There's no context to any of that stuff. I'll just say this, and BJD, I think you're agreeing with me. Just watch the games. If you don't watch the games and see Seth Jones as an effective defenseman, is he a true, grade A, number 1 Norris Trophy candidate? No. Is he by far the best overall defenseman on his team? Yes. I think Alex Vlasic is going to jump over him soon, closing that gap. But look,
well,
if you were a free agent at your company, maybe you had a contract and someplace said, "Hey, we're going to give you about 20% more than you're worth," you'd say, "Thank you. I appreciate that very much."
You're never going to say, no.
Yeah.
I'm not worth that kind of money. Yeah. So, and then I think it was Kay's creation said that the first goal was on Seth. It was a bad play by both of those guys. Alex Vlasic had a rare galaxy brain moment on that goal because he had Connor Garland let him go and then kind of just stood there and watch him tap the goal in. Vlasic's got to do a little better job of preventing Garland from getting in the net, Or if you're going to like let him go, you have to follow him and tie up his stick.
Yeah, and let's also give credit where credit's due. That was a pretty sick give and go by the That was a really nice play.
They ran it great.
Peter Mrazek was like, well, that's way over there, so.
Yeah, it was. And like the 3 forwards on the ice did nothing to prevent any of those passes either. So to pin that goal just on one, that was a complete breakdown by all 5 guys on the ice. But Vlasic, that was a teaching moment. That was one where, Luke's going to show him the video, and I'm sure Vlasic knew right away, like, whoops.
Yeah.
I probably should have done a little more there. But, it's what happens when you have a team that is devoid of talent. I don't want to say devoid of talent, but doesn't have the talent, the horses to hang with the top teams, and half of your defense are rookies, young rookies.
Yep.
And then you have Seth Jones, and then you have Jacob Megna, who looked okay his first couple games, but man, the last few games,
it's been
not
rough.
Been great.
That third goal,
that he just
Elias Lindholm was just like, please move, and they scored easily.
Brushed him off like he was a fly. And Jacob Megna is a big dude. You should not be taken off the puck that easily.
Yeah.
Just unacceptable. So,
it's tough.
I don't know if Connor Murphy, what his status is. He's skated a couple times and then not skated. Bottom line is, I love Luke Richardson, but he needs to stop trying to diagnose injuries.
Yeah.
He told us Connor Murphy was minor. He'll be back the next day, and that was almost a month ago. And then Jared Tenorti was a minor, and he landed on IR today. So just say, hey, we'll know more later.
Yeah, it is very tough to assess injuries, but you know what's easy, Greg?
What is easy?
It is easy for business owners to switch to electric vehicles, courtesy of our friends at ComEd. That's something that we can all get behind for the good of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who live on the planet.
Hey, that's us.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. The electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs as you all move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make the most sense. So what should business owners do, you asked, Jay?
I did.
Well, I would say...
I was pausing for dramatic effect.
It was telepathic. I heard it in my ear. Go to ComEd.com/clean to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses go electric. If you own a business, don't wait. Well, you could wait till after Nick Foligno joins us. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. Good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
I did. Go there now and see how electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
And with all that money you saved with your business switching to electric vehicles, you can get some new floors with our friends at Empire today, where you get shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs. That's a really great thing that they offer, is the right product for your needs.
That's
not the wrong product
good.
for your needs. I need new floors. Here's some water. No, that's not helpful. I need floors. Empire's got you with their quick and professional installation and a low price guarantee. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. So, of course, they've got people that are trying to be like them, but they cannot be beaten on quality, service, or speed. Empire is the only place you need to get your floors. Their philosophy is to help you find what you need and not overwhelm you with the thousands of choices and substitutions. What they leave out is just as important as what they put in. Empire's product team combs through thousands of samples every year to find you the perfect styles. And if you're not sure exactly what you need, use that virtual floor designer. You can see any space, any room, exactly how those new floors are going to look. It's awesome. It's easy. And you know, Empire is a Chicago institution. It's a company you can trust. They service their own warranties. So if a problem does come up, you just call Empire. They service all the warranties themselves. You don't have to track down a manufacturer's phone number. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive a $350 discount when they use the promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/CHGO for details. And now we are going to head out to United Center and welcome our guest, Nick Foligno. His appearance is brought to you by our sponsor, Shift Hockey. Shift is bringing the professional custom stick experience to organizations across Chicagoland. Give your team the opportunity to build a personalized elite stick for a fraction of the cost. Find out more at shifthockey.com/teams or stop by the shop on the 3rd floor of Johnny's Ice House West. Use code CHGO for 10% off your next stick at shifthockey.com. Nick, thanks for being with us after a tough loss 4-2 to the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah, no, that was a tough one for sure. I was disappointed, obviously, in the start of our game, especially. That's 2 games kind of not in a row, but in the Minnesota one as well. We just didn't have the same start that we needed to have, and we got to figure that out. I mean, it's costing us games right now because we're just not as engaged as we need to be, and we're getting the result.
We just heard from Seth Jones before you jumped on. Mario shared his post-game conference, and he talked about that first period where you guys had 1 shot on goal and just sort of said it was embarrassing, and it's got to get better. How do you and we know it's tough. There's injuries, it's inexperience, all those sort of things, but how do you get those starts better? And how do you prevent the message wearing thin if it's the same message every day with no response?
Yeah, I mean, that's the disappointing part is we're well prepared for these games. It's not like we're going in and we're not knowing what we're supposed to be doing. It just comes down to a mindset, honestly. It comes down to how bad you want the puck and how bad you want to make a difference. And I don't even know. I want to be careful because it's not doom or gloom. I mean, listen, it happens in seasons. Great teams do it as well, but for us, it's just such an emphasis because we're already behind the 8 ball in a lot of ways, right? And we can't afford to put ourselves in that position. And 1 shot on net's not going to win us games, right? And or 0 at one point. So we have to understand just how we need to play, the style, the tenacity that we have to play with, and it has to start from puck drop. And that's just on guys personally getting themselves ready to perform and do the job that the team needs them to do. And there's no other real explanation for it. It's not on coaching, it's on individual players to just dig in. And there's no reason why we have 1 shot on net in the first period. That's just not ready to play, and that's just not engaged, and not your head's not in the game where it needs to be. And it's disappointing. And it seems like a lot of times too, if there's a bad goal that happens or something like that, it's like our we lose all the air in our sails, and that just can't happen. It's that may be early on in the season, but we're well past that point, and we have to start rectifying that in order to give ourselves a chance to win hockey games.
You guys get the big power play goal from Tyler Johnson. You factored in on that with the very athletic keeping at the blue line and then getting the puck down low, and then it looks like Colin Blackwell ties the game. Like that puck was like, we thought we were going to hear the horn that they were going to go back and look at it, that it went in because it didn't make a sound, and then the Canucks come down and make it 3-1. I mean, what's it like on the bench after a play like where you think you tie it and then you're back down 2 in a heartbeat?
I mean, that's the craziest part of probably this game, and that's what our team has to realize is for how bad we played, we were down by 1 goal, had a chance to tie it, and yeah, it goes the other way, but that's the breaks of the game, right? It doesn't go in. You give them a little bit of a cushion, now boom, they're up 3-1. And that's it's hard. Those are but we respond and you keep pushing and you find ways, but it's against a good team like Vancouver who knows how to win, understands who they are. They're not going to give you many opportunities like that. And then we pushed at the end. Listen, I'm proud of the way we pushed at the end, but it's too little, too late. Why are we putting ourselves in those positions? Let's be the team that has the lead for a while and holds on to it and makes teams try to open up, and we score another one, right? So that's the frustrating part. Look at we for how poorly we played, we were 2-1, possibly 2-2, could have been, but it's too little, too late. And I think that's the frustrating part for this group is that we're starving for wins. We're starving for good things to happen, right? And we got to understand it's not going to, no team is going to give it to us. Every team right now, especially after the break, they're all fighting for their playoff lives. They're all fighting to get in position. So no easy night is coming, and we can't expect any team to give one away to us. So we have to dig in and be the team that takes every game away from those teams.
Well, the last 40 minutes, the response was better, and it was a much more even game. And look, Vancouver is one of the best teams in the league. They are dynamic. They are deep. They are super skilled. but the last 40 you guys were right there with them. Take us in the locker room in that first intermission, and what was the mood? What were I know you can't get specific. You don't want to say exactly what you said, but what was the mindset in the room after the first period there that changed things for the next 40?
Well, I mean, Luke came in and blasted us, which we had every right to do so. So there wasn't much that needed to be said. It was obviously disappointing, and I think guys realized we have way more to give here, and that was pretty much the message. Dig in, get to our game, get to who we are, and it was disappointing that we even gave that performance in the first, but we have a chance to rectify it. We're only down 1 goal, and so that was where I was proud of our guys for pushing back, but we shouldn't need those up. That's what we're trying to grow here, right? We talk about that, right? It can't be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's got to be, okay, we've got the identity of a hardworking, nasty team. We know we've lost some players and we're depleted, but you can control effort. You can control work ethic. You can control the tenacity with which you play that makes up for some of the talent maybe that you don't have. So that's the identity that we have to have, and we cannot waver from it. And maybe tonight was a good lesson for guys to realize, no matter that we scored 3 goals last game, whoop-de-doo, we didn't win the game. So, it's not going to come easy every night. We got to find ways to force it in the net or force our game on other teams. And there's still enough skill in our room to win hockey games, and that's the reality that we have to realize, get to, is that we're not going to give in here. We're not going to just say, oh, here goes again. No. We're going to push back, and we're going to push back right from the beginning of the game.
When I was walking into the United Center this morning for morning skate, I'm going to drop a name here, but walked in at the same time as Troy Murray, the great color analyst on the radio, and we were talking about the last game, and, hey, they scored 3 goals last game, and his first question was like, yeah, and how did they score those goals? Like, this from in close, simple plays. Like, I know that's kind of been what's been preached most of the season, but how does that go from you got rewarded for those type of plays and then you have a first period like that after tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a disappointing part. I got to be honest with you. I mean, that's where I made my living, so I just have a hard time not understanding why we can't get to the front of the net and understand how important those dirty goals are. What's the cliche? No one asks how, they ask how many, right? And then it's just the truth. Like, who cares how they go in the net? They're going in the net. And sometimes they got to be ugly. Sometimes they got to be off a guy. Look at that today. That guy drives me nuts, but goes off his foot in the net. Like, how many times does that happen against us? Where are those goals for us? If we're around the net, if we're shooting with purpose and looking for sticks, maybe those bank in off in the net for us. So let's get that kind of mindset where it's not the tic-tac-toe plays. Those come when you have the confidence and you've backed teams off, and now they're opening up, like I said, because you have the lead and they have to try and get it back. So now you have a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 opportunity or a breakaway, and you can make some pretty plays. But until then, you got to tooth and nail it. You got to get to the front of the net. You got to make it a nasty game and kind of play chess with, okay, they're pushing here, we're pushing here. And, that's the mindset that our team needs to have a little bit more of. And, it's been building. Like, I was encouraged by what I saw even on the road trip before the break, and coming out of the break at we had a downer period against Minnesota, but then boom, we come right back against New York and play some really good hockey. And, it just seems like we fallen back into old habits this game, which is just unacceptable.
I'm so glad you pointed out that second Vancouver goal, because it's exactly what we're talking about here, right? Like, it doesn't always have to be highlight reel Harlem Globetrotters on ice sort of a goal. And like, do you think that part of it is the fact that the team is struggling so hard to put the puck in the net that maybe the thought is we have to be perfect to score? Like, simple isn't good enough. Do you think that could be maybe seeping in a little bit, where just that desire to be perfect, where you're trying to force that extra pass, not you, I mean the team, is trying to force that extra pass here and there instead of just fuck it, just put it on the net,
Yeah. I think that does come with you want to make that play. You see it and you're like, oh, I can make that. But you know that right now we're struggling. We're not connecting on those. So, as much as, yes, we're NHL players and we all have the ability to make those plays, it's just not happening for us right now. So let's simplify it. Let's dumb it down where it's a lunch pail kind of attitude. And until we really, and listen, I'm not knocking, we have really good players on our team. but we don't have elite goal scorers. We have Connor. We don't have any guys that have really put up 40 goals in a year. We've had some guys who have won Stanley Cups and things, but we're not talking like we have 100-point getters on our team right now. So let's know who we are, and we have played to that identity, and we have played to that. So that's why tonight was just disappointing, because it just felt like we were just not ourselves, and we were just not connected. We were not playing to the rhythm and the pace that we normally play at, and it cost us. It just allowed a Vancouver team who's on the end of a trip. Maybe they're not really feeling like they want to give it all that much, and all of a sudden now we let them off the hook, right? And now they're, we're in a game. It's a little easy tonight. And now they get excited about playing. We let their big boys kind of jump in. So those are the messages and the lessons that we have to learn as a group. And, tonight it's just disappointing because it's been a while since we won a game. It's starting to piss me off, and I'm sure a lot of guys in that room, we're better than that. And no matter what we have in the lineup, we should still be finding ways to win hockey games. We've had some really close ones. We got to push it over the finish line, and that's really what it comes down to.
As one of the leaders of this team, what are the sort of things that you and guys like Jason Dickinson and Seth Jones can do to, as these losses mount, and even when, in the game, like tonight, throw away that first period, it sucked, everyone admits that, but in the games where you do play well and still come up short, how do you keep the young guys, how do you keep their chins up? How do you keep them committed to doing the right things? What kind of message can you give them?
Well, I think it's energy, right? At the end of the day, we're not coming in here and downing ourselves. We got to figure out a way out of this. So I'm always big on solution based. Like, what are we doing to change the course here? What are we doing to get better? What are we doing to improve as a team and as individuals? So that's the mindset. That's the talk that we have in the room. You can get negative all you want, but what's that? It's a useless emotion. Frustration, useless emotion. So it's not going to help us get better. But we have to understand who we are and what our identity is, and you can't waver on that. There's a standard that we talk about, but you got to stay upbeat and come into the rink tomorrow and look to get better. That's the opportunity that we have as a group here. We talked about that. Okay, we're not where we want to be. We're growing, so every day is an opportunity for the Chicago Blackhawks to get better, and that's all that we need to focus on. Tonight we didn't get it done, so tomorrow we get to work. We rectify what we did and didn't do well. And we put it into our work and our practice, and then we put it into our game against Pittsburgh and show that we've learned from what happened tonight, and a big part of it is honestly between the ears. I think it's our group just being mature enough to come into a game like tonight and take over and not look back, not wait to see what the Vancouver Canucks are going to do. It's what are the Chicago Blackhawks going to do and how are they going to adjust to us? And I think if we start getting that mindset and that confidence, that's what's going to allow us to win hockey games.
We'll focus on some of the positives from tonight. The special teams was a big factor tonight. The penalty kill has really, since the flip of the calendar to 2024, been really good. I believe you guys are now perfect 10 for 10 coming out of the break, killing off penalties. You get a goal from the power play tonight. How important is your team that's really struggling to score goals right now as you're missing some guys? How important is that special teams to really be like that equalizer and keep you in games and help you win games?
Yeah, I mean, special teams is huge in the NHL, and I am really proud of our guys because I think that sometimes is a point of where your team's at, where your mindset's at. If you're not winning special teams or at least competing hard in those areas, then sometimes it kind of gives you an idea of the attitude that your team has. So are you taking a breath when you get a power play? Or are you digging in to find a way to score one? I mean, our penalty kill is dug in to kill those penalties off. We take pride in shutting down other teams' top units, and their guys have done a fantastic job. So, I love seeing that. And I think now more than ever, though, it's finding a way on the power play with a goal-starved team to get some. Tonight was a good step in the right direction. It'd be nice to get another one even in the game. Maybe it gives us a little breathing room, a little life. There's no reason why we can't score 2 or 3 if we have opportunities. There's enough skill on the power play to get that done. So it's really important. All the great teams, they have good units and they have their special teams clicking at a good rate. Our PK has done a fantastic job, and I think we want to get our power play obviously up to those numbers. And we're still working on it, but it was obviously a step in the right direction today with getting a goal. But there's a lot of emphasis on it. I think our coaches do a great job in the special teams department, and it's an area that's going to kind of keep you afloat sometimes when your game isn't quite where it needs to be.
Earlier, you said that Luke came in and sort of blasted you guys in the first intermission. Haven't seen a lot of that from him, at least publicly. Is this one of the few times he's done that, or has it become more of a common thing from him lately?
No, it is. It's disappointing that he has to come in and do that. I don't think I think he knows when he needs to, and I think he's a guy that's always stays even keeled and understands that approach, especially with our group and the youth that we have. But absolutely, he should have came in and blasted us. That was so warranted. And if it wasn't him, it was going to be myself or somebody else, I'm sure, in the room speaking up, because that's unacceptable. It's just not who we are. It's not the team that that Luke has coached and has put a plan in place to have. And so I love when you see that from your coach. I think it's important. He's in this with us. All the coaches are, all the players. We're trying to figure out a solution here. We're trying to move this forward. But it's important to say, hey, that is not the right way. That is not the way we're going to do it as the Chicago Blackhawks. And I love that he came in and blasted us. Obviously, it's embarrassing that our coach has to do that, but it happens throughout the year, and it's a long season, and sometimes you need that emotion.
Well, you got one more?
No.
We've been super generous with your time. We want to end on a positive. We saw our buddy today, Windy City Hockey. He's with us every show. Drove up from St. Louis to see the Rockford game for Corey Crawford's number retirement. Then drove up again from St. Louis today and talked to us in the press box. And he's got his brand new Nick Foligno jersey, and he's got the Foligno hat on there too. Nice. So you're moving some merch, man.
That's awesome.
I've noticed quite a few more 17 Foligno jerseys since you signed that extension. People are like, okay, it's safe. I can go get one now.
I've been standing on Madison. Handing them out, trying to get some people.
No. If you got any fat guy sizes, save one for me.
Yeah, we got to replace this. We need guys that actually play on our site here. We got this 98 one.
Let's get a 17 over top of that guy.
There you go.
Yeah, somebody was actually on the ice.
That's a pretty nice jersey. That's I think it's a little bit more warranted around here. But that's also awesome news about Corey Crawford. Good for him for getting his jersey retired in Rockford. That's pretty awesome.
It was cool to be there, and you could see that's a guy. You know what? While you're here, I want to ask you about that, because that's a guy who we feel is incredibly underappreciated throughout the hockey world as a goaltender. Like, obviously, 2 Stanley Cups here. If you look at the Blackhawks leaders of all time, franchise leaders, he's right there at the top of all those categories with an organization that has been blessed in goal. As someone who played against Corey Crawford, what are your thoughts on him as a goaltender, and what made him such a tough guy to beat?
I mean, I agree with you. I think he is kind of underappreciated. I mean, listen, there's so many good players in that teams, the Cup years, and but he was always a steady and a constant back there. And when he was hot, man, it was hard to beat him. I mean, that's not like, he wasn't. He was a goalie that made some big saves at big moments in those runs and those years. So, and I've heard great things about him as a person, obviously from the staff here and the guys. So, it's great to see that he's being recognized for his play. And, I think anyone that's really knows hockey and knows those teams realizes how important he was to that, franchise at the time and those wins. So, it's nice to see him get recognized.
And maybe you can confirm this, a bit of a red ass on the ice sometimes. Have a couple words for the opponent now and again.
Yeah. He would get into it with you. I love that about him. I mean, I stand in front of him a lot of times. We'd have some good battles. So I love that about him. But it was the fire that he played with. And, it was actually – I do remember a couple of run-ins with him. And he competed hard, man. And I love that about goalies sometimes.
Yeah, he's got that intensity about him for sure.
For sure. Before we let you go, Nick, we want to remind everybody tomorrow is Valentine's Day, and it's American Heart Month, so it's a perfect time to visit heartsplaybook.com and purchase your copy of Janelle Foligno's book, Dear Heart, A Letter to My Special Heart. The Hearts Playbook Foundation was created by Janelle and Nick Foligno to build stronger communities in heart health, support cardiac care centers across the nation in patient care, aid in the discovery of technological advancement through innovative heart research, and provide resources to other families in need. So check that out and help support the cause. Once again, that's heartsplaybook.com.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It means a lot to us. So thank you.
All right, Nick. Have a happy Valentine's Day, man. And we'll see you. The plan is for next Tuesday, I think, in studio. So we'll see that. We'll have some fun. And hopefully we'll be getting ready for a certain player to return from a certain injury that we will not mention now.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I'm looking forward
yeah.
to that hopefully
Yeah.
soon here. And
Just
you'll see the
keep
rest
him-
of my body. He won't have my head. You'll get the rest of my body next time I'm in.
There you go. Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
we need less of ours and more of yours on the screen. That's for sure.
Thanks.
All right, Nick. We
Have a
appreciate it,
happy
man.
Valentine's
Thank you.
Day, everybody. See you.
All right, take care.
Thanks, Nick.
That is Nick Foligno live from the United Center. Good stuff from Nick, as always. We appreciate him. That was great. Thank you for everybody with the great comments, throughout the interview. I know he can see that stuff, so it's cool when you're cool. That's for sure. But I think we were going to hear, before we wrap up, do we want to hear from Luke? I think it's probably worth.
I could have that for you in
firing
30
up
seconds.
here in a minute. Yeah, from this is the first we've heard. I'm sure it's happened a couple times before, but for Nick to say Luke blasted the team,
Yeah.
I kind of am interested in hearing what he had to say. And looking at the video preview here, he is very red.
Well, it's Valentine's Day. You don't, like, a lot of times he says, he'll say, like, I don't go in the room. I let the players handle it. But so we have it ready. Thanks, Steven. So let's hear quickly from Luke, and then we got to wrap up our
We'll wrap things up, pay off our
stuffs.
segments, and go home.
Groundhog Day was a nice movie, but you don't want to see it every night here. How do you change this?
I think we've been proud on how the guys have worked over the last month, but not tonight. That wasn't the same effort. Kind of the same results and pulling the goalie and putting a little pressure on at the end, but not the way we want to do things around here. And that was. I thought we started okay the first part of the game, and it was a good first penalty kill. And the penalty kill obviously has been a bright spot for us lately. But right after we killed that first penalty, it went downhill. I thought they turned their speed up and their want, like their determination level, and we didn't. We definitely didn't match it, nor even close. They really showed where they are in the standings and showed us where we are. So that's nothing to be proud of tonight, the way we played, for sure, other than Peter.
Seth seemed kind of embarrassed that he had to shoot that puck there at the end of the first just to get one shot on the board.
Yeah, and I think time's running out too. We're playing desperate on the power play just to try and get maybe a shot and a lucky rebound that we can get possession. So I think we had a couple chances early, and we either shot and missed the net or didn't shoot it. So I think before that penalty kill, so it wasn't like we were totally out of it early in the period. We just didn't get them. But it's the NHL. You got to hit the net with your shot for it to count. So, and as the period went on, I thought they ramped it up. We barely touched the puck, let alone get a shot on net. So, I think, we really got to look at this game and not be happy with it, be grumpy tomorrow and take that into the next game with way more determination that we saw from the other team tonight.
Some of it just how good they are. It's one of the best teams.
Part of it, yeah. Part of it's that, but part of it was, you let them be that good as well. Like, I think when we started to chase a little bit, I think what we've been so good at lately in the D zone is, we've had some extended D zone coverages where we fell back to the middle and let everything be to the outside, but we were way harder. We would hit and pin and scoop a puck, and we did a little bit of that in the third period, but not nearly enough and not as much as we have over the last month. So you spend too much time there, you get tired, and you make mistakes, and your vision just becomes very channeled. And I think that team is a very good offensive team, and I think the combination of us not playing the style that we want to play in the D zone, and they played their style to, maybe not to a T for them, but pretty good on our side. So the combination's not good.
I think the Weichel line got hemmed in for like 2.5 minutes. Anything those guys can learn from that situation?
Well, we get it out the first time. There was about 4 times in one shift that the puck should have been out, and it was on their tape in that red zone that I call it, just inside the line, and we stand still and we panic, so we stand still and look just to pass it standing still weakly, and it doesn't get out. And if it does get out, it might just get out, but it's not enough for everybody to change or anybody to change. but I thought overall that part of the game tonight, which we've been pretty good at most of the year, that was probably one of the worst parts of our game tonight. It was the red zones and turning pucks over, whether it be there or just inside, just around their blue line, and getting caught in their outnumber rushes. Their transition was excellent, as it has been all year. They have good speed and good offensive guys with talent that if you turn the puck over, they're going to make you pay.
We've talked about Korchinski's learning curve this year, and the fact that he's got those offensive instincts, and we saw it on the goal certainly tonight, but he said, he's still trying to balance that defensive responsibility with the offensive instincts. Is that something that he just needs to learn through experience, just seeing what he can do offensively at this level, but also how to find that delicate balance?
Yeah, and we show him, quite a bit of stuff, and Kevin shows a lot more, I think, on the defensive side. Kevin and Dean shows him a lot more stuff on the defensive side, but I think, talking with, everybody and helping him out a little bit here and there on the offensive side and showing him where his instincts look like he wants to go, but he's a little hesitant, and tell him that's the right time to go and maybe the wrong time to do something. But I think even shooting the puck at the end, 6-on-5 for us, like he should have shot the puck right in the middle, and he passes it off. The guy passes to him, then he shoots it, but the guy's in his lane and blocks it. So things like that, I think hopefully these repetitions are going to be good for him later down the road.
This is 2 out of 3 games with pretty poor starts. Is it up to the coaching staff to get these guys ramped up, or is it like Seth Jones, like it's up to each individual? Like, how do you feel? Is there anything you can do to get things changed?
Yeah, no, you try optional skates and you try a full skate just to be sharp and make sure everybody's up and moving. And no, I think it's it's up to individuals to start. Like we don't have sticks, we can't go out and play for them, but we try and give them the best game plan that we can and information on the other team. And I don't necessarily think it was a bad start. I don't know what time was our first penalty kill, but it was after that. And I think we killed the penalty and thought, okay, it'll come. But it doesn't in this league, especially with a team like that. They're driven, and I think we need to take a page out of that book. And I think we've actually, maybe over the last couple games, we've had low shot totals, but I think we've started games like especially on the road trip before we came back home after the break, we started games really well. We just having trouble scoring, so then it does dwindle probably on the confidence a little bit or the demeanor, but this is a place that we need to start fast and keep exciting and keep intimidating and for the other teams, and we don't want to let that slide. I think tonight was definitely a step backwards, so we got some work to do to try and get that back and create a tough environment for the other team.
You mentioned intimidation. Could that, with the Canucks in town, could that have been a factor at all with this team?
I don't think so. I think we they're not a mean team. They're just fast and aggressive, and they want the puck, and they just won the puck battles. Nothing really intimidating like physically like that, other than they just outskated and outworked us. So. It's good. It's a good reminder of how good this league is, and we have to play over our heads some nights to win some games. But I think we have enough in the room, in experience and youth mix that we should be able to put up a really good game plan and fight most nights. And I think we have on the most part. But tonight definitely was not one. So I think the coaches have to look to find other solutions for the players, and the players have to go out and execute.
There is the very red Luke Richardson after the Hawks 4-2 loss to the Canucks. And, in these moments, we heard Nick Foligno, and he's frustrated, and Luke Richardson's frustrated. And I think their points are correct that the first period of this game is inexcusable, but I do think, as Clifford Reynolds in the chat says, so the Canucks are just far better team. Is that about the gist of it? Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much
that
it.
is the gist of it. But I will
that's
say,
gonna be the gist of it most nights.
Yeah, but I think the fact that you saw the last 40 look a lot more even than the first 20 gives some validity to what Luke and what Nick are saying of like, look, we've got to be ready to go. And yeah, there is a massive talent gap between these two teams, but it's not that vast that it should be NHL versus Pee Wee for the first 20 minutes of the game. Right. It should never look like that. No. This is the NHL. and there's NHL players on this team.
We have seen this team go toe-to-toe with some of the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
They've beaten Vegas. They've beaten Toronto. They've beaten
You said
Tampa.
best teams, though.
Well, shut up. At the time, they were the best team.
Yes.
They've hung with the Oilers. They've,
Yep.
they took the New York Rangers to overtime the other night. We've seen it. But we've also seen the exact opposite of that. Like, when they're toe-to-toe, it's fun. It's good.
Yeah.
But when they're getting outclassed, it's
rough.
Bad.
It's rough. All right, we got some super chats. Then we're going to pay off our segments. Then we're going to go home. First from our buddy Brad with the Ice Hogs.
Yes.
Says an update from Rockford. The boys pulled out a 3-2 victory in OT over Texas. Haven't lost a game since you guys visited. The CHGO bump is real. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad. And Brad is the great photographer with the Ice Hogs.
Awesome.
He's the one that snapped the picture of the three of us chatting with Corey Crawford outside the locker room the other night. So thanks
Corey
for that.
was starstruck, that's for sure.
Yes, he was.
And then Ryan Miller with a $5 chat.
Did we finally trade for that Ryan Miller?
Ryan, I saw your super chat, but I basically asked Nick the same question, so we didn't get to him with him. We're not opposed to that. If you want to send a super chat during Nick, if we think it's worthy, we'll read it. We don't want to be dicks, but if your question sucks, even if it's $5, we're not going to read it to Nick. But this is a good one from Ryan. He says, as a leader on this team, what do you say to a young team mired in a losing streak like this, especially with the injuries? Nick sort of addressed that towards the end. If you got in late and you missed it, check it out on the podcast. Go back and watch it on the YouTube, and while you're there, make sure you hit that like button for us. But we've got some things to pay off.
We do.
We had our 4-star nominees of the game. They were Nick Foligno, Tyler Johnson, and Kevin Korchinski. And the winner, appropriately, on Punchki Day, is my Polish brother, Kevin Korchinski.
I thought you were Greek.
I am Greek, and I'm also Italian. But I'm mostly, actually, I'm not Polish at all. I'm adopted, for those that don't know. I don't have any Polish blood in me at all. But I do on Punchki Day, damn it.
Hey, you've got the name. That's what counts.
Yeah, exactly. Polish by
association.
There you go. I've got the head size for it, right?
Polish by adoption.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So congrats to Kevin Korchinski. And who's your Hawk? The winner doesn't matter because it's not me.
Oh, it matters.
Now, this I argue, but, it is what it is. I think a primary assist should be more valuable than a secondary assist, but we went to the blue lines, and Greg wins because he had Nick Foligno. I had Philip Kershev. Both had 1 assist, and Nick had the bigger blue line. So Nick wins, and so does Greg.
Neither of their blue lines are great.
No.
But mine,
same.
Nick Foligno's was slightly less bad than Philip Kershev's. And I will, for the record, agree with you that primary assists should be weighted more than secondary assists. But as I argue, if you go back to that goal, that play does not happen without that keeping at the blue line with Nick Foligno.
Sure.
So he had a bigger impact on that goal-scoring play because he kept the puck in, got it to Kershev, who then found Johnson.
There you go.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't get many of these wins. I'm taking it any way I can get it.
And speaking of finding Johnson, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. All right, we're going to wrap the show up. We are back tomorrow at 2:30. Reminder, diehards, get that Discord chat ready. I'll be doing an overtime segment as soon as tomorrow's show ends, so make sure you join us for that. And by the way, we do want to mention, you probably heard it in the beginning of the segment, new sponsor for Nick Foligno's appearances, Shift Hockey. Check them out, shifthockey.com. Use that code CHGO, and you'll save 10% off your next stick.
10%
I was
off
on the
stick.
Shift Hockey website. Those sticks are sweet. They're really nice. I want to get one. I definitely want to get one. Or you can go visit their shop on the 3rd floor of Johnny's Ice House West. So do that. And we also want to remind you that we are powered by our friends at ComEd. It is getting easier for your business to switch to electric vehicles. Learn more at comed.com/clean. Thanks to Steven for running the show. Thanks to Nick Foligno for joining the show.
Absolutely.
We'll talk to all of you guys
Thanks
tomorrow.
to Mario for getting that set
Yes.
up.
Good job, Mario.
Yes.
We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 2:30. The Hawks are practicing tomorrow, so we'll have news from practice. Hopefully another little update on Connor Bedard, see how things are going. A whole lot to join us in just a few hours. 2:30 tomorrow on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.